I remember early on in my career, I went to my boss's boss and said, if you make me go into finance and investment, I'm going to leave because I will never, ever work in finance and investments. And of course, 25 years later, I've got this big job in finance.
Welcome, Kathy Murphy.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Fidelity is the fourth largest financial services company, and I know that you're a big champion of women taking control of their finances, right?
It is a top priority for me. We did a study on couples, and the results were stunning. So well less than half of the women felt that they were a primary decision maker along with their partner on financial matters. 12% of millennial women considered themselves a primary decision maker. And I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I think that the financial services industry has been an industry designed by men for men. And that's not intentional. It just so happens there were men involved and they created the products and the services in the image of men. And so you can never accuse the financial services industry of being engaging, warm, empowering. They talk about alpha, beta, quant. It's impenetrable. And so we need to make the topic of investing much more approachable so that women feel confident. I listen to 20 hours of customer calls every month as I'm driving to and from work in the car, because the whole point of what we do is to help inspire the better lives of the people we serve.
Your boss is a woman, CEO
Yes.
Abby Johnson. What is the sort of corporate culture of Fidelity? Here we have these two incredibly brilliant women, CEO and president, right? I mean, what has that done for the company? How does it change it?
In terms of the culture, it's about making a difference, getting the results. One of our initiatives is actually to get a lot more women into financial services. And so as I go out to our branches across the country, I don't care if they work 8 to 5 or 10 to 6. I think that makes a big difference for both men and women. I'm one of 6 kids, large Irish family, 3 boys, 3 girls. There was a lot of gender neutrality in my household, but there was also some traditional things like the boys mowed the lawn, the girls cleaned the kitchen. I'm like, no, I kind of want to mow the lawn. So being one of 6 kids, you learn the art of negotiation, you learn actions speak louder than words because you can't get any airtime. But the other thing is sports, I think, helped me a lot.
You made you more of a team player?
Team player, and also focusing on working hard for excellence. I view my role as a leader, the most important part of my job is to create an environment where people can reach their full potential.
If there's one thing that a male colleague could have done to support you early in your career, what do you think it would have been?
I think I was lucky because I started out in corporate staff roles. And so I got lots of opportunities from both men and women. The first business job I had. So I go from being the general counsel and chief administrative officer to getting a set of businesses that had $500 million in earnings. That was my first business job. That was a guy who took a chance on me. And so the point is, if you give people opportunities, they then have to convert on those opportunities.
So of the mentoring part, the sponsoring part, would you say that men have been more willing to give you opportunities than women?
No. One of the best mentors I had was Zoe Baird, who was my boss at Aetna. And she really pushed me to think much more expansively about the issues, the opportunities, confidence in myself. For me, it comes down to prioritization. So there's things I did before I had my son that I just don't do now. And when he goes to college, I'll pick them up. Social things, or I took a step back on some of my community involvement because if this kid doesn't turn out right, I haven't probably done the rest of it right. So it's about, you can have it all, but you have to prioritize what's most important to you at that point in your life.
Recently, the Rockefeller Foundation did a rather interesting study which found that women leaders are more likely to be blamed in times of crisis than their male counterparts, and get rehired less than their male counterparts if a job goes wrong. Do you think that is that from your own experience something that you've observed, or do you think women are more harshly judged in their careers, or is that simply a subjective idea?
So I would say I have not personally been subject to that, but I think it could easily happen based on the corporate culture. So if it's mostly men in the organization, I think it's potentially not always intentional. It's just how they were brought up. You hire in your own image. You cut people a break if you're friends with them, you know. And so we have to push to give more women opportunities at all levels in these companies. And the diversity of thought and perspective is the most important thing. It's not political correctness for a company, it's about getting the best results. And you get the best results through diversity, not just gender diversity, thought, perspective, approaches to leadership.
If you were to give advice to somebody who wanted to go into corporate life, climb the top of the ladder and be as successful as you, a young woman today, what is your main advice? I mean, what should they be thinking?
All right, so I have 3 signs in my office, and again, comes all back to me for the fundamentals. You have to have a positive attitude. You have to embrace every single opportunity and make the most of it. Second is, and these are signs other people gave me, but they ring true to me. A person gave me a sign that says, "Thou shalt not whine." No one wants to be around negative people. The negative people don't progress as geometrically. So don't whine, have solutions, work on the, you know, solve problems, don't create problems. On the back of that sign I look at every day is a bumper sticker someone gave me which says, "Well-behaved women rarely make history." Embrace the risk, go for it, you know?
Love it. Thank you so much,
You're
Kathy
welcome.
Murphy.